Are you ready to announce a new Batman Beyond animated movie?
I'm not, no. There is a Blu-ray set remaster that's coming out sometime.
Okay. Because we did get the Fatal 5 animated movie, which is sort of similar.
We got that because I talked them into using those designs.
Okay. Maybe you can talk them into making an animated movie that looks similar into Batman Beyond.
You know, things happen. I never say never. I mean, I've gotten to go back to Brave and the Bold. You know, I got to do another Brave and the Bold follow-up, which I wasn't expecting. I got to do an Adam West project that I definitely wasn't expecting. They did Justice League, Fatal 5, so...
And the Harley Quinn.
Yeah, well, I didn't do that, but I did work on that, actually, didn't I?
I wanted to ask, since you've been involved in Batman Beyond and the animation and number series, when you were a kid, what was your sort of comic geek superhero experience?
Oh, well...
that inspired you maybe to get
well,
involved?
there was a person who asked a question on the panel today, and it was Kevin Conroy told the story about people coming up to him and saying that he represented their childhood because a lot of latchkey kids were coming home and he was the Batman that was on TV. Well, for me, it was Adam West, and it's the exact same thing. Like, you know, that show really inspired everything else I did in life. So,
do you know who directed the musical sequence episode where they go to see the musical, the Batman the musical?
Oh yeah, that was Out of the Past. Yeah, that was mine.
Did you board that Who boarded that sequence?
I did.
That's amazing.
I board all the musicals.
It's like the Killing Joke musical. That was you.
I did that. I did all the ones in Brave and the Bold. The only one I didn't do was there's a dance number in Gotham by Gaslight, and I said no. I did the Harley song in Batman Harley. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I'm a choreographer or anything. It's just I like musicals, so no one else seems to want to do them. So
how did you combine that to make a balance with the more darker tones of Batman Beyond?
for me, I mean, to me, there's comedy and darkness, and there's darkness and comedy. So it's never, to me, I think you need all those elements to make everything play more. Like, a good horror movie should have a little bit of humor in it somewhere. I think it's just the human experience. We're not all dark. We're not all light. We're all these shades of things. So I never have a problem reconciling humor and really dark stuff. Like, to me, some of the funniest stuff is really dark, and so it was never a problem for me. I can go as far silly, well, as Brave and the Bold proved. I can go really dark and I can go really ridiculous, and I don't see a difference. Because life's ridiculous.
Either of those sides? You prefer
I don't have a preference. I think I like to switch it up. I like to keep. If I do, like Brave and the Bold, if we did a pretty dark episode on one hand, then I'd almost always want to follow it up with something silly. Granted, we didn't do that many dark episodes, but we had a few, I'd say, bleak endings. We did a Doom Patrol episode where we ended with them getting kills, which was a story from the comics. But, you know, if we had done that probably earlier, someone would have said, oh, they had to survive. But no one told us they had to survive, so I'm like, nope, they're dead. And, Chill of the Night it was dark, but there was a hope at the end of it. Like, Batman came through something. So I don't consider that a dark, it's not a bleak episode. It might be dark, but it's not bleak. And then there was one called Tornado Tyrant, where Red Tornado has to kill his son, which was real. That's probably the saddest, bleakest episode we did on that series. And so I like to switch it up. I like to do all kinds of tones.
So, you also directed the Ace episode, Ace in the Hole.
Excuse me?
The Ace in the Hole episode.
Yes.
So, it's actually a really touching story. Kind of reminded me, recently Tom King did another short story with Ace. Very similar thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for Good Boys actually get Eisner nominated.
I missed the last
Eisner nominated.
Oh.
So, basically, the origin of Ace being an abused dog, and so I was curious. doing something with such a touchy subject, the balance again of being
It was
something
a very touchy subject. In fact, when we did the board, there was a whole middle section of that show episode where we saw Ace actually in the dogfight. We actually see him in a real dogfight, and it was boarded and everything. And the network was like, "You can't show this." And that was the whole middle part of our episode. Like, it was the main part of Act B, which we had 3 acts. That was this, because it was setting up what Ace had went through, and it also was going to pay off what he was going to have to do in the 3rd act when he fights the big mutant dog. And they said, "We can't show this." So we had to be very clever. And basically, like Bruce Timm always says, whenever they make us do something because of broadcast standards, the solution is always worse, because we have to come up with things that make the viewer imagine what they're seeing. And so we quickly had to rearrange that board where we were, and every time Ace would lunge, or the dog that he was fighting would lunge toward him, in the original board, we'd see him bite him. We had to cut away to the audience recoiling in horror. And so we did that several times to fill out the footage we lost. Oh, that was quick. So anyway, so that had a lot, it turned out to be a great episode, I thought. I wasn't sure about it at first, and I love the flashback where Bruce finds Ace in the alley and the Joker tries to attack him. I thought that was really well done.
Do you ever try to anticipate what the standards and practices guys are going to say you can't do, or do you just do what you want to do and
It's
let
kind of
them?
arbitrary. On Brave and the Bold, on Batman Beyond, the first season they were very lax, meaning for other reasons, basically our bosses were the BS&P, and so they didn't really bother us. The second season, there was a whole bunch of new people that came in who hated our show, just automatically hated our show and assumed everything we were doing was too dark and it was trying to, they had a whole agenda about, being responsible. No, that wasn't their agenda. Their agenda was social engineering. They really hated action shows, like with the passion, especially superhero shows. And they really hated Batman for some reason. But so the second and third seasons, we had to deal with a lot more notes and a lot more changes that came. But we still found ways to work around it.
Do you ever go over artwork or boards with Kurt Gita for consistency, or just kind of check things over?
Well, when we were on the series, I never boarded for Kurt Gata.
Okay.
Dan Reba was my director when I was a storyboard artist. When Kurt Gata did the Return of the Joker, his directing slot on the series opened up, and that's how I became a director. So I never really worked directly with him. One more, I guess.
What are you most
Wrap it up. One more.
What are you most proud of looking back on Batman Beyond?
I mean, in hindsight, I said it on the panels that it's a thing where that show is a show that's uniquely ours, meaning the people who worked on it, it was our show. Like, other people have done Batman shows, other people have done Justice League shows, other people will do those types of shows again. But Batman Beyond was ours.
Thank you.
So that's what
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.